Hey everyone, Dominic here, bringing you another Ravening Report. This time it's Vampire Covenant versus Warriors of the Dark Gods. The game type here was Refused Flank with Breakthrough as the secondary. Let's take a look at the deployment. So for the Warriors, we've got a unit of Warhounds, Chosen Knights, another unit of Warhounds, Chosen Warriors right up here. He's got a Chimera back here. He's got a big unit of warriors with his general in there on a war dais, I believe. He's got 2 units of wretched ones, I believe they're called. And he's got a wizard adept in here on a war dais with some forsaken, I believe they are, or fallen. I always get those two mixed up. Either way, and then he's got his exalted back here. For the Vampire Covenant, this is a bit of a change up from my last list. So we've got a unit of 5 Vampire Knights with a musician, a unit of 8 dogs, a unit of 4 bats, a unit of, I believe, 48 skeletons, I believe, with spears, full command, and the Relentless Company banner. Behind that, I've got 2 Winged Reapers with paired weapons. I've got a unit of 25 zombies back here with a banner and a musician. In that unit, I've got my 2 Necromancers. One's a Wizard Adept of Evocation with a Necromantic Staff, and the other is a Wizard Adept of Alchemy with the Talisman of the Void. Behind that, there's another unit of 25 zombies with banner and musician. This big unit right here is a unit of 11 Barrow Knights. They have full command with the Black Standard of Zavgod. In the unit, I've got the Army General. He's a independent vampire count. He's on a skeletal steed, heavy armor, shield. He's got the Blade of True Thirst. He's an adept of occultism, and he's got the Arcane Knowledge with the Eternity Gem, and finally a Talisman of Preservation. Over here we've got a unit of 10 Wraiths, and finally another unit of 2 Winged Reapers with paired weapons. This is just kind of how the table looks like as we start at the Warriors of the Dark Gods taking turn 1. So that's kind of, again, just how things are looking. And he pushes forward. He starts to keep good distance on this one side, which was kind of my goal here. I wanted to try and keep him at bay with the Knights, full well knowing that if these things want to stay away, just the Knights will be able to tie that up, and that's okay. The rest of his army just kind of moves forward pretty fast. Goes into magic phase. He does... forget what he did. He was doing something towards these guys. Didn't go off. And then he did the Hellfire spell, which he also miscast on this roll and lost Hellfire for the rest of the game. So it was pretty fortunate that I didn't quite lose all of the bats there, so I can regrow them. That's pretty much it for turn 1, though, for Warriors of the Dark Gods. So this is just a little bit of maneuvering here. For me, again, I'm trying to keep ranging him with most of my stuff. So I made it so that these guys can't even declare a charge. We're just outside of the maximum range. These guys here, it's pretty far. You can't see them, but I did put Winged Reapers up on the bottom of this hill and move these Bat Swarms behind my lines here as well. Just quick another look, and we go into magic phase. So we do the Rot Within over here on his Exalted. I believe I sacrificed, but he dispelled it. We do an Arise, we gain back some skeletons, and and we try and gain back some zombies here. I believe we did this in a bubble, actually. So we got some zombies back in this unit, and got a few bats over here. That's pretty much it, though, and we go into turn 2 for Warriors of the Dark Gods. So on this flank again, he's just keeping distance. The Knights have got everything in their arc of sight at this moment, so he's holding off with both of his Chosen and his Chosen Knights. But pretty much else, he's kind of just continuing up, pushing. He goes into Magic Phase. He does Pentagram of Pain, kills off a few dogs here. He tried to cast another spell this way, I forget what it was, but that was stopped. And then he did, or tried to do Hasten the Hour to cause wounds to 3 models. Didn't go off. And that's kind of how the table looks like as we go into turn 2 for Vampire Covenant. So over here, I declare a charge with the Winged Reapers into his Wretched Ones. They make it in, and the Wraiths just do a move through these Wretched Ones over here. We do all but 1 wound with those Reaper attacks. I think those disappear here right away. Other than that, my Knights are holding on the fence in the center here, and we're just keeping that range. I think I actually backed up a little bit here, and I backed up a bit with the dogs. This one zombie unit is making a run for the breakthrough objective, of course, and I have got these Winged Reapers in reserve on the hill. And there it is, did all but one wound to these guys, unfortunately. And we go into Magic. We do the Rot Within again, and we sacrifice. I think this time it actually goes off. We do Spectral Blades and give these guys reroll failed to wound rolls, which goes off. And then we do the Hand of Glory on the skeleton unit, just to maybe keep his Exalted at bay, because I've got something else that I want these guys to be doing. We go into combat, and we wipe him out. He does, I think he did a single wound to me in return, and actually 2 wounds it looks like. We overrun, but we couldn't reach here, and I couldn't go any further to get out of arc because of the impassable terrain. So that's how the table looks like as we are going into the start of turn 3 for Warriors of the Dark Gods. So over here, he's going to charge his Fallen into the Wraiths. They make it. The random movement goes into the rear, of course. And everything else is still keeping that distance over here, surprisingly good enough. His warrior block with his general in here pivots around and is going to make its way around this side. And his Exalted, with nothing really to worry about, just flies up over here to get a good flank on something. He goes into Magic Phase. I believe he does the Pentagram of Pain in a bubble. I let it go off. He does a few wounds here and there. Actually, I think he did quite a bit of wounds. The surprising one was to the Knight, the Vampire Knights. Looks like he did 2. Oh no, I think that's a stand-in model for the Barrow Knights. And oh, sorry, this is when he does Hellfire and he loses it. He did Hellfire on the Barrow Knights, only killed 1, and lost the spell for the rest of the game. We go into combat over here. He rolls really good, and I don't make a lot of my saves. I do kill the Wretched One in the back, and I think I maybe put 1 or 2 wounds on the guys in the front, but I pop because of the combat res. They just sort of pivot on the spot a little bit, and that's what the table looks like as we go into turn 3. So start of turn 3, the Winged Reapers on the hill declare a charge, as do the Barrow Knights. They both go there, they make it in. Over here, I decided that, actually I'm not sure what I was thinking here. I wanted these Knights to do something more than just keep these guys at bay. I figure if I move over here, I can swing past and just bypass his Chosen Knights entirely, and maybe put some more pressure on the center of his army is kind of what I was thinking anyway. I did a maneuver over here that was going to be a little bit risky. His Exalted could see this unit over here, and I didn't want those Necromancers to get tied down inside of that unit quite so early. But doing this also means that he's probably going to, whatever he does in Magic is just going to be a 5-dice Pentagram of Pain and an Aura. So he goes into, or I go into Magic. We do the Rot Within and sacrifice. It goes off on his warrior block. We do a Rise. We gain, I think we tried to do this. I think this one might have been stopped. Nope, that one goes off. We tried to do Spectral Blades and that one got stopped. We also tried a Molten Copper on this guy, and I think it actually goes off. Didn't really do anything, no. Combat goes by. We beat the Fallen down to just the Adept. We restrain pursuit with the Knights, whereas the Winged Reapers pursue, they catch, and they end up going off the board. And that's what the table looks like as we go into the start of turn 4. So over here, he finally moves up. He's in a nice little line over here for me. And again, he moved that Exalted back behind my lines. He goes into Magic, and he tries the 5 dice at the Pentagram of Pain, but he rolled really, really low, unfortunately, for him. So didn't go off, but it doesn't matter because he goes to shooting, and he breath weapons off the Evocation Necromancer. So other than that, that's what the table looks like for Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 4. So we go into the bottom here for Vampire Covenant. This one's kind of a far charge, but I decide that I've got enough chaff here with these bats that I can just get in to block this other flank if I need be. They don't make it in. And we continue to move up with these Knights. Like I said, I want to put pressure on this side. We put the dogs right up in front of that stuff, so that even the overrun is like 12.5, 13 inches over here, so it won't affect me in any kind of a way. And then I just, since I put the bat in front, the Winged Reapers here, as well as the Barrow Knights are in pretty good range to double charge over here. And the other unit of zombies has made it into the breakthrough scenario. The second Necromancer went back into this unit, and it moved up a little bit. I can't really get away at this point, but we go to Magic. We tried to do the Dead Arise up here, and he stops this one. And then we do an Arise, and we gain back, or we grow a bunch of skeletons over here, actually. So the unit is massive now. That's pretty much it as we go into turn 5 for Warriors of the Dark Gods. So both his Chosen Knights and the Warhounds are going in. He releases these guys, and he declares a charge over here from these Chosen. It's like a 13-inch charge or something like that. As well as these dogs, he does release the Hounds, and they go into the flank of the Knights. Everything makes it in. I believe... I can't remember. I think his Exalted also charges the flank of those zombies. Maybe not. Yeah, he's just hanging out back here. He goes into Magic. He does a Pentagram of Pain, which I let go off. And he was trying to do something else over here. I believe it was to try and get them an Aegis save. I think it was Hand of Glory. One thing that he did back here is he had moved his Chimera behind over here, which is actually very ideal for me because that allows the Bat Swarm to charge something out of the way and get both of my units into that unit if I want to. We go into combat. He wipes out the Dire Wolves, no problem. He overruns... Actually, no, I think he just pivoted on the spot with both. Reformed with the Warhounds. And then we go to this other one. He does only 1 wound to me, surprisingly. And I do a bunch to the dogs, and I think I actually get a wound on the Chosen as well. And that's kind of what the table looks, that's where that one's ending. So start of turn 5 for Vampire Covenant. The Winged Reapers go into the rear of those Chosen. And that was it. So they made that charge. And over here, I forget why I think I decided not to do this one. Just because I wanted... Oh yeah, because there was something else I needed to do. I needed to get the secondary is what I was figuring. So my general couldn't get out of here. So these guys popped their Relentless Company banner and were able to march. They march up their 15. I'm not quite in the deployment zone, but I've got all of this stuff in my front, so it's not the worst, I guess. We're just staying over here. Move over the Winged Reapers to the flank. Go into Magic. We do the Rot Within again. I think he stopped it this time. We do Molten Copper, and it knocks off a couple guys from the Warriors unit. And then we go into combat. As you can see here, I kill the dogs on the side, and I do a bunch of damage to the Chosen. I did a few wounds back to me, but he does break, and he ends up running this way. I make him go. The Winged Reapers fail to catch. They just kind of stumble forward a little bit, and these guys reformed on the spot. Or pivoted on the spot, rather. But that's kind of what the table looks like as we go into turn 6. So his Chosen Knights are going to go into my Warrior Knights. His Warhounds are going to go into the Winged Reapers. And the Chimera actually declares a really long charge over here. I think he needed 10 on the dice, of course. And this guy also goes into the flank of the zombies. Everybody makes it in. Got really good on the charge rolls. Goes into Magic. Sorry, these guys also rallied. Magic I don't think really did anything, simply because all he had was his... I think it was Breath of Corruption was the only thing that he managed to get off. But it'll still help him a bit. We go into this combat. He kills a bunch of guys, but I'm still there. Well, there it is. This is combat, finally. So the Winged Reapers, they almost killed all the dogs, and he did a couple wounds to me. After Crumbles, I'm alive with just 1 wound on that second guy. We go over here. He does a wound to me, and I crumble 1 more, I believe. I didn't do anything back to him. And yeah, like I said, over here, he just beats up on the zombies a bunch, but there's still quite a few there. I mustn't have had any pictures of my movement. The only thing I did do in my movement for turn 6 is the general decided not to fight his general's unit because I was ahead on points at this point, and I wanted to do a Bubble Arise, so I needed to get him to somewhere else. So we go into Magic. We try and do the Dead Arise back here, and he lets it go off. My whole thing here was maybe if, for whatever reason, these guys flee, they'll take it a couple dangerous terrain tests and maybe go below. It might be a bit of a dream, but we try it anyway. Get some guys. And then we move up to do the Bubble Dead Arise, which does go off. Or sorry, Arise does go off, and we get a couple wounds back here and there. The zombies, actually, we got quite a few back. We fight combat. The Winged Reapers kill the dog as well as the Chimera. We just barely managed to do it. He does kill one of the Winged Reapers, though, which is fine. We do this one, and it's a pillow fight. It's a complete push. And, yeah. That was pretty much it. It was a pretty uneventful game for most of it. It was mostly just positioning and trying to stay out of each other's charge range. Neither of us managed to get the secondary there, as we both had 2 scoring units in the enemy deployment zone. So it was straight on points, and it ended in a 12-8 victory for the Vampire Covenant. So, pretty fun game. I definitely liked my list a lot better than what I was trying to make in the last few ones. But I think there's still a few things from here that I could change, namely small changes though. So we'll see how that goes in the next game. Hope you guys enjoyed the battle. Stay tuned.